good morning and welcome again to Summit. It's a fresh edition of the program, and we are happy that you are joining us on the program today to discuss, of course, another burning issue in our polity. My name is Jumoke Michaels, and Banji also is here. Banji, good morning.
Yes, I'm glad to be here. I know you are going through a lot as a citizen of this country, but of course, they say tough times never last, tough people do. My name is Banji Busari, and this is Summit, where we give you the very best, particularly about the ongoing and the issues around the country. You are welcome.
All right, so talking about issues in the country, we are talking about the Supreme Court's judgment affirming again the financial autonomy for local government. There have been so many reactions, both from the political commentators, even the governors themselves have been reacting. And so we're going to be looking at this issue holistically this morning. And joining us, we have Mr. Ademola Adegoke. He's also a journalist, a consultant, and of course, a public affairs analyst.
Thank you, Jumoke and Banji. Thanks
Welcome
for having me.
He's our friend anyway. It's our regular.
Thanks for having me once again.
Yeah, I don't know whether to start by congratulating the local governments or the entire political system for the Supreme Court judgment of July 11, which some people have regarded as a watershed in the judicial system in this country. On that day, the struggle for the financial autonomy of the local governments actually came to a successful end. And the Supreme Court ruled that henceforth, all payments must be paid directly to local governments. That is to say, the previous practice where the joint account of state and local government was under operation had come to an end. The local governments will now have access and will be held responsible for their finances. I'm sure you are aware of all of that and the reactions that Jumoke spoke about. But for me, I'd like to ask the jubilation and the applaud that the judgment actually received. Do you share in that applause or do you believe it was a watershed?
Well, for me, the judgment is what you can call bittersweet. Bittersweet. That's my own view of the judgment. There are some laudable aspects of the judgment that one agrees with, but essentially, I also see some areas that in which, in wanting to solve a problem, we have created many others. So let's start with the good aspects of the judgment. The good aspects of the judgment, one of the good aspects of the judgment is that governors will no longer have the power to remove local government chairmen, at will, as it pleases them, as it catches their fancy. So to that extent, I agree with the judgment, because you are an elected official. The local government chairman or council are also elected officials, and you cannot, if you are elected, you can't remove another elected official. But the governors have been doing this, having pocketed the state houses of assembly, they who hate them and abet them, in that illegal practice of removing the chairman at will. So to that extent, I agree with the judgment. Another aspect of the judgment that I agree with is that the local government councils are not going to be run through caretaker committees anymore, because it is illegal. The Constitution provides that the local government councils are to be run by elected officials, the chairman and the councillors. So, but when the governors, because of their own selfish interest, they now remove the governors and the chairman and then replace them with a caretaker, with unelected officials on your caretaker committees. I think that is also, for me, is an aberrant practice. So to that extent, I agree with the judgment. But there are aspects of the judgment, to the extent that the...
you have not spoken about, what about the practice where all the projects at the local government level are now being financed or maybe paid for by the government?
I am also going to
that. Is that not part of the what you may regard as?
Yes, you see, as regards financial autonomy to the local government, I do not so much agree with that aspect of the judgment. And for me, I am a federalist to the core, and I have checked the books. If you check the books, and even elementary books of political science, politics and government, you will see that in a federal structure, you have, the definition of federalism is a two-tier system of government, the central government and then the subnationals. The local government councils are deemed to be a subset of the subnationals. And this is the way it goes. If you now say that the local government councils can now receive direct funding from the central government, where lies the checks and balances, in the whole arrangement? Let's take, for example, a local government in Borno or Ekiti. Is Abuja now going to be supervising the disbursement? Not the disbursement now, but the way the funds are spent. So for me, it's I think it's something that we need to think through again, and it runs, like I've said, it runs counter to the whole principle of federalism. Now let's also go into history and see and ask ourselves what was the structure of local government administration before the 1976 local government reform. Before the 1976 local government reform, you discover that each state had its own local government structure that it ran. And it was in 1976 that the military government then, under General Obasanjo, as he was then, thought that there should be uniformity in the way local government administration is run in the country. And so you now have that uniformity, and that was when direct funding of local government from the central government started. But I want to ask you, you see, when we get excited about this judgment, let us ask ourselves, how was local government, what was the effectiveness of local government administration pre-1976, and what is its effectiveness now? People like Banji, we know that, especially those of us from the countryside, we know that you have schools, that are called LA primary school. You have maternity homes called, district council maternity homes and all of that. Those schools, those maternity homes, those infrastructures were put in place by the then local government because they had their own way of generating funds, through taxes, through fees, and each local government was working so much to generate its own fund. Immediately, the direct funding from the central government came. What happened? All local administration went into abeyance. And we have not seen the kind of vibrancy, the kind of robustness that we witnessed pre-1976, we have never seen now. When last did your local government build a primary school, Banji? They had their own primary school, or Jumoke. They had their own primary schools. They had their own, even building markets. Maybe they still do now. I don't know. And they were generating their own funds. And you know what? The way we have done it in this country is that we have made creation of other local councils so difficult. And that is why, if you look at the present 774 local government councils that are presently in existence, they were last created, I think, in 1991. There were 449 local government councils. Then 140 was added to them by the Babangida regime, and then the number went up to 589. Now, in 1996, when Abacha created additional six more states, so, some other local government councils were created, and the number moved from 589 to the present 774. And it is now 28 years since the last local government council was created. I want to ask you, because local government creation or local government councils are supposed to be a reflection of the population, a reflection of the socio-political development and demand and needs of the people. So the Lagos State that had 20 local government councils, 1996, it was the population in 1996, or is the population now the same as it is? So you are supposed to, and these are the problems that we have created by listing our local government councils inside the constitution, making it so difficult. And now we are even creating, more problems. And I want to ask you,
You have said so much. You really need to have said so much. You have actually said so much. I'm looking, they brought up, there are so many issues. That's why we tagged this one aftermath. Now let's look at the timeliness, the propriety of the judgment as we speak now. As we speak, 21 states, local governments in 21 states are under the caretaker management. Now, with this judgment, they
are all rushing to.
But they have been told that there will be no allocations, that is, to those local governments that are being run by caretaker committees. So, what's your own view about that, considering the judgment and then the implementation? The local government must actually assess the jack for them to operate. But those ones that have been run by caretaker committees, what do you think their fate will be?
You know that I said, ab initio, that there are aspects of the judgment that I agree with. And one of it is that the local government councils should not be run by unelected caretaker committees. I agree. But then, you see, you can solve a problem. In Yoruba, they say that cutting the head can never be the right solution to having a headache. You don't say because you have a headache, you want to cut the head off. You understand? So I believe that we can solve the problem of the illegality being, perpetrated by the state governors through legislation. Through legislation, we can tinker, with the Constitution to make it difficult for any local or any state to use caretaker committees to run the local government. So we can solve that problem. We can look for a way to solve that problem. Now, you see, like you have said now, they are not going to be,
at least
for now. And what now happens, the gap between now and when that means that, administration we suffer. Local administration will suffer for it, for the time, between the time lag of, organizing election and then being able to access the funds. So local government administration will suffer, and so many things will suffer in the local councils. So these are problems that we have created. I, for one, I am someone that believes that in the first place, the central government has no business in a truly federal system, has no business with local administration. And this is the way.
Sorry, even talking about these elections that they're trying to conduct, you know that the AGF, Lateef Fagbemi, is saying that the State Electoral Commission should not even conduct this election, that it should be left for the Independent National Electoral Election.
No, that's his own view.
INEC has also said that he doesn't have capacity.
That's his own view. That's his own view, personal view.
No, because he feels that the people in the State Independent Electoral Commission are also people who are handpicked.
You see, I have said it, that in wanting to solve a problem, you don't create many others. I agree that what we have been having in the states as a local government election is nothing but selection, to use, for want of a better word, of a stricter word, so to speak. What we have been having is a sham, you understand? And I ask you, how many states, with the exception of Kaduna recently, that used electronic, under El-Rufai, that used electronic voting, and local government council election was conducted, and the opposition won some chairmanship and councillorship seats. I think PDP under El-Rufai won as many as 5 local government councils under El-Rufai, and they won some councillorship. That is about the only state in recent time that has conducted the election and the opposition party has won. So what happens is that, the governor just unpicks members of the State Independent Electoral Commission, people that he knows he can control. But then, can we also find a solution to that? We can. We can, through legislation, through, the instrumentality of the law, put in place measures that will make it difficult for the governor to just unpick anybody. The ruling party in the state, winning all the seats. And you know that this is not possible.
All right. Apart from the resultant effect of these elections conducted by CX, of course, we know that there are only few local government chairmen in the country that can look their principal, that is the governor, in the face and say, no, I won't take that order, or I won't take that directive, or I cannot submit so to you.
I'm sure it doesn't exist.
It doesn't. There are only few. One of them tried it in Ogun State. And you know what happened. Now, apart from the appointees of LASEC that are actually made by the state government, even at the local government level, the head of administration there, that's the most senior civil servant, is an appointee of the state government. Now, do you not think, we were asking how far-reaching this Supreme Court judgment will be? Do you not think those appointees of state government and the local government can also be used by proxy to siphon money to local government? So how far-reaching is the judgment?
You see, the problem we have, the problems are quite many. We have a legion of problems, and the Supreme Court judgment has only scratched the surface, leaving so many other issues untouched. Let's start with what let me speak to the issue you raised about the local government heads being yes men even the chairman being yes men of the governors. What is to me, the problem with that is the lack of internal democracy within the parties. such that the governor will always have his way or whoever he wants to pick. And you are talking about the local government councils. It even goes beyond that. What about even the House of Assembly? The members there, the governor decides who wants to become the speaker. He decides, who even gets the ticket in the first place. If we develop a system where there is, effective internal democracy within the parties, we are not going to be having all these issues. So we are not going to be having all these issues. Was it like that? Was it like that in the First and Second Republic? The party was stronger than any member, even regardless of the office the member holds. The party was stronger then in those days. But now, since we started practicing this money politics or money back politics, individuals, it has made it possible for individuals to take hold of the parties and then do with them the way it pleases them. So for me, one of the issues we need to address is how do we entrench true internal democracy within the parties, that the parties become stronger than the individual members. So
one of the merits of this judgment that you highlighted earlier is the fact that the local government chairmen will be more confident of their positions as local government chairmen, knowing that the government
their positions are
secure.
well, yeah.
Yes. So going forward, shouldn't this be like a beam of hope for them, giving them confidence that, okay, they are standing by the law and they can, do things right, despite of their allegiance to the governors?
No, you see, to the best of my knowledge,
Especially when it comes to administration.
no public official swears, oath of allegiance to the governor, or not even to the president. You swear oath of allegiance to the Constitution of the country. The problem like I've said, is that our public officials, even after taking oath and swearing allegiance to the Constitution, they dump that, and then they make the governors tingles, because is the be all and end all of their political career. So for me, even when you now say that, let's look at it, I don't know how much, to the extent to which that what you have just said can solve the problem. Now we have made the local government councils autonomous financially. But the Nigerian politician, you know them. You know that the local government chairman wants to become senator. He wants to go to the House of Rep, and there is he doesn't want to hurt the governor, who can still stand in his way. So I don't know how you understand what I'm saying. Maybe with the exception of few amongst them who may feel that, okay, what is it? If I serve and I go, at least I've made my mark. But how many we have that kind of mindset among them? So you will discover that even when you say financial autonomy, it may still be a way of, Oga, how do we do this thing? How do we go about it so that we find a way around this? So these are the issues. You see, I am of the opinion that we need to actually sit down and ask ourselves, what kind of federalism do we want to practice?
What kind of federalism do we want to practice? Let's look at now. There is, from this judgment, by the time it commences operation, there will be so much money at the disposal of the local government chairman than before. Looking at casting your mind, but you spoke about early schools then. I remember that in the 80s, things were so bad at the local government level, because local governments were responsible for the payment of teachers,
primary school
teachers. And the things were so bad that local government, primary school teachers could not pay their house rent, could not discharge their responsibility because there was a backlog of salaries and all of that before the change of order. Now, there's so much money. Will it translate into bigger responsibility, development, and progress at the local government? How financially responsible do you think the chairman will be?
You see, that is it. You see, it's not just, I said it. It's not, I talked about checks and balances the other time. What checks and balances measure have we put in place, you understand, to ensure that we properly track and monitor the disbursement of funds at the local government? It's not just enough for the Supreme Court to give order to say, okay, the funds should not be. So these are things that we can, like I've said, we can solve all these problems, even without the Supreme Court judgment. You understand? So we can solve this problem. So if you have so much money, to spend, it doesn't really mean that it now depends on what you do with the money. That is what now determines how the money you have translates into socioeconomic development of your people. As it is today, if you give the local government council chairman all the latitude in the whole world to spend the money as they wish, they may have so much money and you still see, and there is nothing to show for it. So I think that beyond the judgment, we need to really put, we need to really put measures in place. I said it that we need to ask ourselves, what kind of federalism do we want to practice? We were already complaining before now that the federal government is fast becoming a leviathan, like the Obesian leviathan, too big to becoming almost one monstrous being, having all the powers. And we are now, taking more powers to give to the federal government. And more responsibilities. The federal government already has enough, more than enough, in its hands. How will it now monitor the local government councils?
I ask you, who monitors the state governments?
Well, because the law.
Are the laws not in place for the local government?
For me,
you are aware of financial intelligence. That's
the law.
The financial intelligence unit,
yes,
where the local governments have a kind of bar, a kind of ceiling in terms of what they could spend.
What they could spend.
State governments challenged it, and they now reversed. Of course, state government went to Supreme and then it was reversed. So there's a law checking
there is a law.
operation.
You see, I have said it. You see, these things are interwoven. I have said it maybe on this forum or elsewhere before, that there is a difference between a civil regime and true democracy. We have civil regime, but we don't have true democracy. Civil regime just means that, we were able to send the military away. We, conduct some semblance of election, so to speak, and then, we get some people into offices. But true democracy will mean that whoever emerges, is actually, emerging from the people and is working for the people and he has the people, in mind. We have not had that. So when we have a system that ensures that our electoral system has to be as foolproof as possible, so that the people can determine who rules them. If I am a local government council chairman and the people know that I'm working for them, you understand, even if my governor says that I'm not going to come back, The people, you understand, and there is true internal democracy. And we, the governor will be defeated. But we don't have that. And that is why it is possible for one man to sit down as the governor, and it determines who becomes the senator in the state. It determines who becomes the House of Rep member. It determines the local government council. This is the problem. We need to go beyond just saying we want, financial autonomy for the local government. There are measures that we need to put in place. We need to, like I've said, to do a reappraisal of our federal system, and we see how it is working. By the time we are packing more and more powers, more and more responsibilities to the central government, we may also be building a leviathan.
Okay,
you understand?
What should the National Assembly be doing as our lawmakers? Is there any way they can intervene in passing bills and all that to be able to put together a more robust?
Yeah, of course. That's why we have elected them. That's why we have to, there should be periodical review of our system. You see, no system is perfect. No system anywhere in the world is perfect. But what you do with any system is that periodically you carry out a review and you look at how things are working. Where do you need to cross the T's and dot the I's? So when you do that periodically, gradually the system will evolve, to a near perfect state. So, but I don't know how much of that our representatives in the Senate, in the House of Rep, and even in the state houses of assembly, I don't know how much of that they are doing. So,
all right. As we speak, I'm aware of one state, or your state, that's led by Governor Seyi Makinde, who seems to have challenged that ruling. And in the interim, he has set up committees to study the judgment and then come up with their reaction on how to counter or how to get a better deal. Now, how constitutional do you think that may be? Since Supreme Court is supposed to be the final arbiter.
Yes, the Supreme Court is the final arbiter in matters between the subnationals, or even between the subnationals and the central government, and even between individuals in the country. Supreme Court is a court of policy. Once it gives a pronouncement, once it makes a pronouncement, it becomes law. But then, Supreme Court also has the power to reverse itself, but it can only do that on the basis of being provided with fresh evidence that, that was never
facts.
Incontrovertible facts, fresh evidence that was never seen before. So I don't know what fresh evidence, what fresh facts or proof that Oyo State wants to bring now that will convince the Supreme Court to reverse itself. The Supreme Court has the power to reverse itself, and I think there has been one or two instances when that was actually done. But I don't know how far Seyi Makinde and his committee can go in this. That is just it. But if the Supreme Court is provided with fresh facts, with reasons, tangible reasons why it should not have taken the position it took, maybe.
The Senate President has told them
so much to discuss. Time will not permit. But before you go, what role can the citizenry play at the grassroots level to create a kind of checks and balances? Can they actually hold their chairman responsible for this? Now, you were collecting 40 million in the past. Now it is 200 million. What evidence can you show?
There should be it's not just even people at the grassroots. Everybody, the CSOs and different organizations should now beam their searchlights on local government administration. And the local government councils too should be as transparent as possible. You make things open to people so that they can see how much you are receiving and how you are disbursing the funds, for different projects. But at the citizen level, the citizen before now had lost hope in local government administration, and for reasons like that it is just mere selection, they get there anyhow, and you'd even discover that in most cases in local government elections, people don't come out because they know that whatever
The result had been determined.
the result had been determined. The result had long been determined before the election. So maybe when people now start showing more interest, when we also have reforms in the electoral process at the local government council, things will improve and things will get better.
All right, so we are watching.
It's going to be, we will be reviewing from time to time. Okay, we'll revisit this issue. Maybe later to know the developments. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you always. My name is Banji Busari.
All right, before we leave, we'll take...